SCAG's household projections. As you're aware, throughout this last RHNA cycle, we are now looking at exploring housing options to certify our current housing element update. And with the state's new stringent requirements, our challenge to the RHNA was rejected. However, staff will continue to pursue a reduction in the SCAG's household production. With regard to employment projections, S.C.A.G. estimates an increase by 267 jobs over the next 11 years. Staff does also feel that these numbers seem unusually high, and we conducted an analysis of that, and that's provided on page 4 of your report. Basically, what staff did is really took their best estimate of potential new projects, some that we're aware of that have come to us, those that did receive permits but haven't gone forward. There were a total of 6 projects, and we used a standard occupant density multiplier, which is a standard methodology, and developed what potentially could be new jobs generated from these new projects. Our numbers did come out lower, and so therefore we will continue to monitor these updates and also provide these revised numbers to S.C.A.G. So going forward, as S.C.A.G. develops updated projections of population, household, and employment as part of the future updates to these plans, these regional plans, staff will continue to monitor those projections to ensure that any appropriate revisions or changes can be submitted to them and they can assess them. We have spoken to S.C.A.G. staff, and they had told us that these numbers are not set in stone. They are still evolving, and we want to make sure that we continue that form of communication to S.C.A.G. staff in terms of these projections of numbers. I'm not asking for any action at this. This is really a receive and file unless you have any comments.
Madam Mayor, I have a question and also a comment.
Councilmember Zimmerman.
My question is, I don't understand how S.C.A.G. can estimate that there'll be a population increase of 32 residents that will then require an increase in the number of households by 140.
We had that.
Maybe that's called new math, but that seems like
we had that
maybe
same question.
4 houses or 4.2 houses for each resident. Am I missing something there?
You're not missing something.
No, it's S.C.A.G.
We had that question as well. They feel that it's not a proportionate to the number of new residents because of everything from in-migration, out-migration, the number of births and deaths from a county level, not from a S.C.A.G. Madre level, but they do this from a fair share, and that's the number. We've disputed that number. We're asking them to bring it down, and one of the things that we're challenged with is that my staff and I are looking at what methodology we would use in order to determine what that number is. They're using a county fair share, or county share method of methodology.
I'm glad I wasn't aware of those numbers at the previous city council meeting, because I would have lost my temper. But anyway, thank you for clarifying something that I guess cannot be clarified. That was my question. My comment is, there's an indication that you were the staff was planning on going back to S.C.A.G. with staff's best estimate of an additional 243 jobs being created in the city. I think that number is an important enough number to be considered by the city council, and without suggesting that it's an inaccurate number, I would like a better understanding of how staff arrived at the number. Because again, I'm just relying on my old math, and my old math tells me if the average business in S.C.A.G. Madre is, I don't know, say 5 employees, that would require the creation of about 50 plus additional businesses in S.C.A.G. Madre. And I just don't see us creating 50 additional businesses in S.C.A.G. Madre over the next 11 or so years. So I would respectfully request, with the concurrence of my fellow council members, that before you go back to SCAG with that number, which again is the estimated or anticipated creation of new jobs in Sierra Madre during that period of time, that you consult with the council and allow us an opportunity to consider whether that estimate in and of itself is inaccurately high.
If I could, through the chair, we need to get back, staff does have to, this is a conversation we should have right now, essentially, because we do need to get back to them soon. So if you could give us, Danny, Director Castro would be glad to go through the detailed chart. Maybe you give us some indication from that so we would know where we should reduce the numbers.
Are there other methods for determining the number of employees? Because this was done on a square footage basis. Now, is that, and see, what worries me about this whole thing is, are we doing this in a way that SCAG will accept, and even if they accept it, are they going to make any changes? Because, you read through this, and of course, we need to make the input and we need to participate, but there is no guarantee that they will accept anything that we give them. As a matter of fact, it says that any revisions we give them will be assessed by SCAG.
That's correct.
Based on the information we provide, and they may decide that they like their method better. And as you said, they use the county fair share method, in which they just take they use a forecasting methodology where they take the growth in population in households and they just distribute it equally, by some method, which doesn't really take into account the idiosyncrasies and the uniqueness of Sierra Madre. So what is scary is, we'll go through these exercises and they will still dispense however which way they dispense, even despite the fact that we've made input. And when some of this stuff, this statement, for example, SCAG utilizes widely used cohort component methodology that utilizes fertility and mortality rates, net migration, domestic in-migration, and domestic out-migration in their key technical assumptions. Now, what the heck does that mean? So, it is a little bit scary, and so you do it on the square footage basis. Is that because that's what SCAG will accept, or are there other ways are there other methodologies that we could employ that might be more representative?
We can explore other types of methodologies. It was really looking at, we felt that it was really the best estimate in terms of potential projects. I want to emphasize, too, that these are within Measure V thresholds in terms of square feet. We could look at other methodologies based on maybe types of businesses that would be attracted to Sierra Madre, that might bring the number of employees to a certain number as opposed to...
Do we have a history of the number of employees over the last 5 years?
Because that would be more based on the type of business as opposed to...
Right, a better model.
As opposed to square footage.
Right, a better model to use.
There could be some... and again, I think what SCAG is looking for is that we've done our homework to the extent that, we want to bring a compelling argument back to them.
And also, do we know how many jobs have been created in Sierra Madre over the last 10 years? I'd be surprised if it was anywhere near 200, but I could be wrong. And I do think history should be, to some degree, a guide as to the number of jobs that would be created over the next decade, or to be more specific, 11 years.